All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another M1 Finance Dividend Portfolio update. Big gains on the Dow Jones today. Big gains across the board by and large. Dow Jones is up 658 points for the day. S&P 500 is up 72 points, and the NASDAQ is up 201 points. Big gains. I talked about this a couple of days ago. In fact, not that I'm one to call stock market bottoms or anything like that, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily a stock market bottom, but I did bring up the conversation that we have been dancing around this 30,000 mark region area on the Dow Jones for the last couple of weeks. We definitely touched 29,000 on the Dow just a little bit, but the support seems to be building. It looks like there's a base starting to form around this 30,000 mark on the Dow Jones Industrial. And not that I normally would recommend trading off of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, but most people don't really know, like the average, retail investor, they know the Dow Jones. Most people don't really know the S&P 500 for whatever reason, even though the S&P 500 is technically containing 500 stocks versus the Dow Jones only containing 30. But it is what it is. Most people kind of follow the Dow. And whenever I used to trade, I would always want to know what is everyone else thinking. So it helps to know what the average investor is thinking. It also helps to know what the big money is thinking as well. Institutional investors, hedge funds, and the like. So that's why it's a big deal. And let's have a quick look at the SP 500 before we jump into the M1 Finance Portfolio update of the day. Yeah, it looks like we're forming, and if you notice the pattern here, very similar chart pattern to the Dow Jones Industrial Average chart that we just had up, and it looks like the low here was 36.74. We're sitting at 38.63 for the day, and we've been kind of dancing around this little area here. It looks like it's about 38, maybe about 38, maybe 3,800 at the low recently. So it looks like a base is starting to form here. Fed Reserve came out and indicated that they are going to be raising interest rates. Well, they didn't say exactly how much they're going to raise the interest rates, but we pretty much know that they're going to raise interest rates by about, another 75 basis points, more than likely, with the June inflation numbers having come out at 9.1%. So inflation's still getting away from them. So, but also Canada just came out and they dropped the bomb and basically said that they're raising their interest rates by 100 points, 100 basis points. And their CPI inflation or equivalent is at like 7.7%. So I really cannot imagine that the Fed doesn't raise interest rates the next time around during the next FOMC meeting by a minimum of 75 basis points, if not 100. The thing though is what's very interesting is that the market knows that this is going to happen. So it's kind of like, okay, the market knows that the Fed's going to drop another interest rate hike. And with that being said, the market's they're not waiting for the interest rate to change and then to sell off at that point. Not to say that they can't, but the point is it's not a surprise to the market. So if the market sells off on the day that the Fed decides to raise interest rates, I don't think that the market would be selling off because it's a new discovery. It's not news. The market, like if you know a crash is coming for a fact, then you're going to more likely sell your positions and get out of the way. And the market knows this is coming. So I just don't see some massive plummet unless the Fed does something very, very unexpected. Now, if that happens, all bets are off, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Anyway, quick update on the M1 Finance Portfolio update for the day. We're sitting at $32,775. We are back up $7,405. We're now up 37% for the past since I've had the portfolio. Not bad at all. Bad news though, I wanted to share with you guys I wanted to show you how, if you guys have been following the channel on the previous video, I attempted to sell these this dividend paying ETF, the SCHD. I wanted to sell it and then buy it back under the dividend ETF pie that I created. Unfortunately, it never happened, never materialized, and the transaction never went through. Because I wanted to show you guys a way, well, yeah, I wanted to show you a way that I thought I learned. Apparently, maybe I did something wrong. I watched another YouTuber who basically walked you through kind of doing a method of moving, essentially moving a stock or ETF from being outside of a pie and moving it into a pie, because there's more than one way to do it based on what I've been told. But the way I wanted to show you guys was a way that would do so in by not generating a taxable event. Didn't want to have to generate a taxable event. Who wants to pay taxes unnecessarily, especially when you're just trying to move something, like you're trying to make a logical move just to move a particular holding into a folder. Why would you want to have to pay taxes on that, if you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, so the transaction didn't go through. The SCHD ETF is still sitting there outside of a pie, so that's not cool. I went into the activity section, and unfortunately, there was no activity. It didn't even show, because I did this on the 13th, I believe. It definitely wasn't this 12th transaction here, whatever the heck this is. But I did it on the 13th, and it doesn't even show that anything has taken place. So I'm going to have to try again. Maybe I'll test it out, figure out how to do it properly, and then I'll create a new video showing you guys how to do it. Because I'll be honest with you, I think it should be a lot simpler, but the interface here is not making it all that user friendly to make that move on that particular stock. Anyway, big news has come out from Warren Buffett in his additional purchases he added to his positions on Occidental Petroleum. And basically, here's why Warren Buffett bought all of the Occidental Petroleum shares he could, even with oil prices shooting past $100. So I just want to kind of quickly go through this here. We've been following gas prices. I mean, if you're in the United States, obviously, you know, gas prices have been going up, and that's all everyone was talking about for like the last 6 weeks. Things have cooled off a little bit. Gas prices are down a little bit, but they're still high. They're still high compared to, say, 2 years ago. It says here, Warren Buffett kept a lot of cash on hand in recent years. At the end of 2021, the cash pile at his holdings company, Berkshire Hathaway, has grown to a record $146 billion. That shouldn't come as a surprise. Warren Buffett is a value investor. After all, valuations were bloated in the United States stock market after significant rallies in 2020. We find little that excites us, according to Buffett. That's what he said in a recent shareholder letter. But in 2022, Berkshire has spent around $7.5 billion acquiring shares of integrated oil and gas giant Occidental Petroleum. Now, Berkshire's total stake in Oxy is sitting at 143 million shares, worth approximately $10 billion now. Big percentage of ownership for Berkshire Hathaway in the Occidental Petroleum Company, which is an oil and gas company. And we had this conversation. I had a conversation with some other investors recently, and we were discussing, okay, what is the projection? What's the future look like for oil and gas companies? Your Exxon Mobils of the world, Oxy Petroleum that Warren Buffett has recently purchased, and a whole host of other. As a matter of fact, let's go back to the portfolio. Almost forgot which which companies I have in the portfolio. So let's look in the oil and gas. I only have three: ExxonMobil, Chevron Corporation, as well as the Energy Transfer LP. So the question is, what does the future of oil and gas look like, especially as the current administration is pushing hard, very heavily for a clean air, clean, going green energy initiative, electric vehicles, EV. Everybody should run out and buy a Tesla. Uh, just kidding. And of course, none of this conversation is should be construed as financial advice. This is purely for entertainment purposes. But the direction is going electric, and it's all about efficiency, fuel efficiency, emissions reductions, you name it. So what does the future of oil and gas companies look like? And these are billion-dollar organizations. They're not just going to go out of business. That's just not going to happen. These CEOs and shareholders of these companies, we're not trying to just allow a massive cash cow to suddenly just stop producing cash. And I mean, and many of these companies are paying handsome dividends. Unfortunately, some of them had to cut their dividends just to survive as a result of the pandemic. When everyone was on lockdown, no one was buying gas. I mean, you didn't need to, you didn't have to. Like you might have. Most people probably drive. I would say the average person probably drives, I don't know, 30 miles one way to work. At least in my area, you drive 30 miles one way. So you're driving 60 miles a day, and that's assuming you went straight to work and went straight home. Most people are going to go to the gym, stop by the grocery store, pick their kids up from school, from daycare, whatnot. There's, little errands that need to be run. So add another 10 miles a day. You're at 70 miles a day. You figure 30 days out in a month. What's that? 200 and that's like 2,000 miles per month. So that's a lot of driving. Now, obviously, you don't work 7 days a week, so we can reduce that a little bit. But the point is people are driving a lot and to get to work. But during the pandemic, that demand for fuel it cratered. People were stuck at home. People were working remotely. People were starting online businesses and side hustles. So anyway, during that time, these oil and gas companies, they were losing money left and right, just trying to stay afloat, and many oil and gas companies had to cut their dividends. Anyway, ExxonMobil's paying a fairly decent dividend at 4.15% dividend yield. But yeah, so apparently Warren Buffett's got a lot of confidence going forward with the oil and gas industry, or at least when it comes to Occidental Petroleum. I'm going to do a little bit more digging to figure out if I am as bullish about Occidental Petroleum as Warren Buffett is, and as a whole, am I as bullish about the entire oil and gas industry? I do like them because they do pay pretty good dividends compared to other industries, and fairly reliably. Occidental Petroleum, they have a dividend yield of the dividend yield of 0.91%, or 52 cents per share. So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna do a little homework on those guys and see if I like them. I can't imagine that I wouldn't like them if Warren Buffett just dropped a couple $1 billion on adding more position to his already existing stakes in the company. So anyway, guys, just wanted to share this quick portfolio update with you. Unfortunately, the transfer of equities, the transfer of the dividend, the SCHD dividend ETF didn't go through as planned, but such as life. I'll try again and I'll share the update with you guys. I hope that you guys are enjoying these videos. I will continue to share them with you. Hope to keep it as transparent as possible. Good luck on your journeys toward building and creating passive income. Good luck on achieving FIRE super duper early, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't, because I know you can. Stay positive, and let's keep making it happen, guys. Have a great one.